Hi everyone, it's Arsh Ellahi. Hope you're well. Hope you've had a great weekend so far. It is Sunday, and tonight what we're going to be talking about, very simply, is how over the last week we've done 5 property deals in 5 days. So it's been the first full week of the year, should I say. What a week it's been. And what we're going to also be ultimately looking at is how you're able to do 30 property deals in 30 days. So let's keep moving on. Got a lot of action, got a lot of questions, got a lot of or should I say, a lot of questions, a lot of participation that's going to happen tonight. So if you can, if you're listening online, whether you're listening on Facebook, whether you're listening on Instagram, whether you're listening in on YouTube, just give me a quick hi. If you are watching on Facebook, feel free to share the video so that other people can see that you're interested in property. So I want to say thank you. First of all, thank you for trusting me with your time this evening. Tonight's a bit of a different webinar where we're going to be talking about the deals that we've done this week, how we've structured them, and the reason why we structured them the way that we're doing, and how they were sourced, how they were packaged, and how they're sold. So I want to thank you so much for trusting me with your time this evening. I appreciate that time's a precious commodity. I guarantee that this is going to be the investment that you're going to make. So what we're going to be covering in 90 minutes. So we'll be looking at the 3-step deal trading system that I've created. We're showing you the best way as to how to make property cash flow. And I'll also be showing you the number of deals that we've traded in 2017 and the kind of deals that we've traded in 2017, but more importantly, the deals that we've done already in 2018 and how you guys can get started pretty much with no money and no experience. So who is Arsh Ellahi? And more importantly, why should you be listening to me? There's lots of things that you can do on a Sunday evening. Why should you be here listening to me talk about property? So first of all, I'm a author of an Amazon bestseller called Boom, Bust and Back Again. And as the title suggests, never always been an easy journey. I'm a monthly columnist of 2 very well-known UK property magazines, the YPN, Your Property Network magazine, and the HMO magazine. I call myself a bit of a property veteran. The reason why I say that, I've been involved in property. This year it'll be 18 years. So yeah, admittedly, I'm still quite young. I'm 37 years old. But I've survived from literally the brink of bust of recession. I started a deal trader business in the year 2000 just off student-sized savings and made a lot of profit off that. And more importantly, I'm a property investment trainer and a mentor that has helped hundreds of people achieve financial freedom. But I always put this first and foremost. I am a property investor, and then I educate people second. So in 2017 alone, purchased massive 50 properties for my own portfolio. So that just goes to show that I'm not a person that talks about it and doesn't do it in the background. I'm a person that does it first, understands it, and implements my learnings onto other people. So what's your reason why? Here's your opportunity to tell me a little bit about you. Who are you? Where are you? Why are you doing this? Why are you listening to a webinar? What makes property so appealing to you? So if you wouldn't mind, I'll share my reason why with you in a second. If you can, in the comments box, just type in, what is your reason why? Why are you doing property? And I don't just want you to put to achieve financial freedom, because financial freedom is quite a loose and quite a wide term. Let's break it down further. So I want to say that you want to spend time with your family. You want to break away from the job that's grinding you down, the job that's preventing you from doing other things. So if you can, just spend a minute or so telling me a little bit about why you want to break from the rat race of life, shall we say. So just having a look at some of the responses that's coming in just off the webinar. So it's a lot of people want to say that they're trying to get to financial freedom, and that freedom will create. Okay, so David is coming straight away. It says to create a family legacy will no longer when I'm no longer here to provide, and that's a great one because, you know, unfortunately, the problem that we've got is there's two things guaranteed in life. Two things guaranteed in life, and that is death and taxes. So if you can provide for your family when you're not here, then that's a fantastic one. So okay, so Timothy said, I want to pursue my hobby. Chris has said, I want to maximize my pension. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so we've got Taj, who's on Facebook. He says, I want to create 100 million per annum revenue in the next 15 years. Now, that's ambitious goals, admittedly. 100 million revenue in the next 15 years. Not saying that it can't be done, but if you're going to do it, now's your time to start doing it, because we're at a fantastic time with property. Well, and people say, well, how is Brexit affecting us? And we're gonna go through that, because Brexit, believe it or not, I love it when people say that they can't make property work because of Brexit. Okay, so just going through some of the other whys. I want to pursue my hobby. I love the thrill of renovating a rundown property as something to pass on to my children. Siggy says, I want to replace my income to spend more time with my family. Financial independence, I want to be with my frail parents, have time with my family and legacy to help the needy. My why is to build a family legacy and an inspiration for future women. That's a fantastic one. I don't want to see my parents turn 50 and still have to, I don't want to see my parents turn 50 and still have to work a job for pennies and struggle. So we've got some real good reason whys here, and we've got some real personal whys, and that's a fantastic thing to see, and more importantly to share. So, what are your property goals for 2018? Is it that you want to quit your job? Is it that you want to make property pay for luxuries such as cars, holidays and clothes? You know, admittedly, that's quite a vanity thing to put up there, for cars, holidays and clothes. But, you know, with all due respect, with success comes some of the nicer luxuries. So, you know, I make no apologies about that. But more importantly, do you want to help your kids? Like the property ladder, do you want to help your kids get through university? And I did a live meetup for some of my mentees yesterday, and one of the speakers actually said that the reason why he's involved in property is that he wanted to pay for his daughter's, not lavish, but very stylish wedding, and it was going close to the hundreds of thousands of pounds for a wedding, and property has allowed him to do that. And I thought that was a phenomenal reason, because that money could have been used for property or anything, but she was adamant that she wanted to have the best day of her life, and in a way where she was going to really remember that day as well. So when we break down goals, when we look at goals, we have to also look at what does that look like in a form of monetary term. Because in order for us to, it's great as setting one goal so that we want to get financial freedom. But the second thing that we've got to ask ourselves is, what does that look like? So, you know, Taj says that he wants to build £100 million per annum revenue, which basically means that it's going to be generating circa £8 million per annum, £8 million per month in revenue. Which, okay, so that's a big. It's probably a long way off, but I'm sure that he can do it. Now, what does success look like on a smaller scale? Is it £5,000 a month? Is it £10,000 a month? Is it more? Is it £1,000 a month? Now, one of the people that I'm going to talk about shortly is a lady called Christina, and her goal is to trade a minimum of one property a month and get a minimum of £1,000 a month. And the most important question is, how are you going to get there? What strategy are you going to utilize? Now, the strategy that we're talking about tonight, very simply, is deal trading. How to source a property, how to package a property, how to sell the property. And that pretty much is what we're going to be covering. So just so you know that, guys, the live feed is going to be finishing in 45 seconds. So if you're watching on Facebook, you're watching on Instagram, you're watching on YouTube, we're going to close the live feeds, because we're going to start to move on with the webinar. I put the link as to where you need to join in the opening post. So if you want to join, feel free to come online and join the hundreds of other people that are with us tonight. So let's keep moving on. Okay, so we're going to close it off now. So guys, on the hopefully you've enjoyed it, and If you do want to join the webinar, please click the link, and no doubt I will be speaking to you all very soon. Take care, good night, God bless. So guys, on the webinar, fantastic, thank you for being with me. So you've got my full attention. So Nicola says, I want to create capital and income through growing a property portfolio and give me a secure retirement. And that's a fantastic, you know, that's a long-term goal. So you're looking at retirement, you're looking at something that you don't have to worry about. So what is deal trading? I'm going to go through this very briefly. The rest of the webinar is nowhere near like any of the other webinars that you may have watched. So what is deal trading? I put it pretty much like a matchmaking service. The reason why I say that is because what we do, we bring together buyers and sellers that would never have previously found each other and give them a simple and safe way to do business. Now, when we talk about that, simple, you know, so when you think about it logically, all we are is a form of a glorified estate agent, but we're able to work quicker. We're more inventive, we've got a lot more initiative, and we've got the ability to work nationally. So we're not tied down to our local region. So if you notice, an independent agent in, I don't know, give me an area, let's say Derby, or you know, anywhere, Nottingham or Leeds, they're not going to go out of their patch to find a property for someone looking in the air for an investor of theirs. And the beautiful thing with us being, well, there's terminologies that you're going to come across. They all pretty much act like the same thing. So deal sourcer, deal sourcer, deal trader, pretty much are the same things. When you come into packages, it becomes a little bit more technical. So I don't want to really get into that. So in essence, what we are, we're glorified estate agents. We find properties that people are looking to sell, and we find buyers for it, and we make our fee directly. Well, generally, I make my fee from the buyer. I never charge the seller, and that's the reason why I managed to get so many sellers. Because when a seller goes to an estate agent, the estate agent charges them a fee. Whereas if they sell it to me, if they sell it through me, if I manage to find them a buyer, I make my money off the buyer, not the seller. So it's a service that helps homeowners that may have previously been let down by estate agents. Now, just give you an example. On, was it Friday? Yeah, Friday evening on my way home from work, from the way home from the office, I get a call from one of my friends, and he's a very switched on guy. And he called me, he goes, Arsh, he goes, how much will you buy my property off me for? And I go, which property? He goes, the one that I'm living in at the moment. I knew that he'd already, well, he's in the process of buying another property. So this is the property that he lives in. And he goes, Arsh, he goes, that problem that I've got is that the person that was buying my house, on the day of completion, they've just fallen out. He goes, that I now need to sell this house to buy the next house. So what can you do? And I said to him, Nick, yeah, we need to calm down here, because really, if I wasn't your friend, I would be saying that I'd be offering you between 25 and 30% below the market value. And he was prepared to do a deal. And I said to him, well, and I had to sit down with him and say, really, is this what you want to do? And so he's gone to think about it over the weekend. I'm not the kind, I like to trade, I am an ethical operator without a doubt. But when it comes to friends, it's a little bit more, you've got a little bit of emotion at stake. And more importantly, you don't want to, I never mix business with pleasure, if and where I can. Well, I can say that I haven't. So he's going to come back to me on Monday. I've given him a couple of options. So, sorry, just whilst I've got you. So one person has come in and says that she's lost the sound, she can't hear. Can everyone hear? Can you just say yes or no if you can hear me? Okay. So I've just told her to log out and log back in. If you do lose sound, log out, log back in, and you should be back with us. Okay, so fantastic. To everyone else, it's with us. Okay, so more importantly, a deal sourcer is a service that helps other property investors. So we're not really focusing on the homeowner market. So we're not looking at the first-time buyers. We're not looking for people who are looking to upscale or downscale. My market predominantly is other property investors, because believe it or not, that's what I understand. I'm a property investor myself. I can kind of know what other property investors are looking for up and down the country. So they're looking for cash flow, they're looking for discounts, they're looking for yields, they're looking for return on investments, they're looking for longevity. So estate agents don't really understand that. So that's why deal sources are a real important part of the cog and the system. Now, the reason why I love deal trading is that we can all go off and buy a property. That would mean that we need a 25% deposit, we need a surveyor, we need a mortgage company, we need a surveyor, we need a solicitor and stuff. But we can buy the property, we can rent it out, and with the best will in the world, we're going to get a tenant in there. Hopefully, they're going to pay the rent. Hopefully, they're going to look after the property, and it's all going to work well. However, the thought that is always in the back of my mind is that I'm not financially free. Regardless how many properties you got, you're not actually financially free, or you're not actually free of the property until you've actually managed to pay down the debt. So the way that I see it, it's almost pretty much like a ball and chain around your neck. So the reason why I like deal trading is the fact that you don't actually you don't purchase the property, you don't own the property, you're simply acting like a glorified estate agent. And I say that all the time, and people say, well, why do you use that terminology? Because that's what we are. We put people together, we make a fee for it, and we move on to the next one. And people think, well, is that great for the long term? The fact is that you can do this you can do it pretty much in any country if you want to. You can do it in any market. And the fact is that the demand is always going to be there. So that's the way that I feel when I deal trade. And there's nothing stopping you from building a portfolio. I'm not here to say you shouldn't build a property portfolio, because if you can, and you can do it for long term, where you can leave it for your kids, you can create that legacy, which what a lot of you said was your reason why. That's a fantastic thing. And I've got 2 very young children, so that's what I've done. My portfolio is going to be left for them, but in the meanwhile, the cash flow that I make from my deal trading is paying down my debt, so that I can relieve myself away from this ball and chain a lot quicker. And I've got a goal. My goal is very simple: to retire at the age of 45, and that date is the 12th of November 2025. I've structured all my debt so that all comes down on the 12th of November 2025, so that I can wake up on that morning, be completely financially free, and I decide what I do with my destiny from there on. So, okay, so I've jumped straight into it. So how many deals did I do in 2017? There's no secret, because I put it out there. We actually traded 483 deals in 2017. So guys, you heard it there, which was equivalent to my 2 a day, which kind of makes what we're going to talk about today seem small. But believe it or not, for the first week of January, I thought we did really well. It just means that we're going to ramp it up for the rest of the year. So we did 483 deals in 2017. And if you don't believe me, all you got to do, go back to your email inbox. And literally, all you're going to do is go and count the amount of deals or emails that we sent out. And admittedly, a lot of people say that I send out a lot of emails, but we send out a lot of good value as well. Where else would you have seen these deals? Now, for argument's sake, I don't know where you're operating from in the country, but let's just say that you're in Scotland. Without me, how would you have seen that deal in London? How would you have seen that deal in the Midlands? How would you have seen that deal in Doncaster? How would you have seen that deal in Manchester? The honest answer is that you wouldn't. And it's the same system that I've been using since the year 2000 when I started. And this bulletproof system has been tested in the rising market of 2006, in the crash of 2008, and the flat market of 2010. So it stands the test of time. Unlike buy-to-let, where you're going to have Section 24, where you've got issues with new EPC ratings, where you've got issues with tenants not paying rents, where you've got issues with all the other government legislation that's coming in. It's making it harder and harder to become a landlord and an investor. So that's the reason why I like deal trading. And the simple deal trading, I've called it the SPS process. I'm just gonna, sorry, so someone else has said that they can't hear again, but I think it's their computer. Okay, so it's the simple SPS process, which is source, package, and sell. And it really is as simple as that. Source the deal, package the deal, and sell the deal. One of the guys that we've got online, so I'm going to say hi to Simon Paul, who's one of the guys that we've done a deal with earlier this year, earlier last year. So keep moving on. So I've done you a few little diagrams this evening, which is hopefully going to make it a little bit more real, and so that you can understand what is it that we actually do. So we've got three people in the process. We've got the vendor. The vendor is the person that owns the property. And so the vendor is the person that owns the property, and they approach you with their property. So they say, hi Arsh, okay, I've got this property, I'm looking to sell it, you know, what is it that you think you can do? How much is it that you can offer me? Da, 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 da. Now, what I do, I then go along, I don't necessarily, it's very rare. The 5 deals that we're going to talk about today that we did last week, I actually only went to see 1. And that's just because it was in Wolverhampton. That's the only reason. I haven't seen the other 4. The second step is that I assess the deal. I look at the angle. I try to see if we can make it profitable. And then I package it. When I package it, it doesn't mean that I'm out there with my sellotape and my wrapping paper and trying to package it. What I'm looking at, I'm trying to figure out is, to the point is, how can I look at this and how can we monetize the lead? And that's exactly what we're trying to do. Monetize every lead that comes into my office. There shouldn't be a single deal that I can't monetize. Now, step 3 is once we've packaged it, so once we've got exclusivity to the deal with the vendor, once we've packaged it, once we've managed to negotiate and get a good deal for the vendor, but also a great deal for the investor, we put it out to our investor database. Now, my investor database currently sits at 103,700 and something, 743, I think at last count. So 103,743 property investors. And that's not just UK-wide, that's worldwide. So I've got people in there that buy from Hong Kong, I've got people in there that buy from Dubai, I've got people in there that buy from Saudi, I've got people that buy from Kenya, I've got all over the world. So we then put that out on email, and the purchaser will hopefully look at it on the email, understand my vision and what we've done and how we packaged it. And as a result, they buy the property off us on the basis that the property makes financial and commercial sense. Now, just think about this logically, guys. For those that are on the webinar now, how many of you have looked at a deal, looked at one of my emails and thought, oh, that looks quite tasty? Just give me a quick yes or no. More importantly, does everyone kind of get my emails? Because we're going to be going through those. If there's anyone on there that doesn't get my emails, just say no, and then I can get those. So, okay, so pretty much everyone has said yes. Okay. So the vendor, 3 people involved. Again, the vendor. First thing I have to understand is what is the vendor's motivation and what is their pain? Why are they looking to sell? Why do they want to do a deal with me? Why don't they just put it on the estate agent and run the mill of the market? So I have to understand what their pain is. And believe it or not, we can actually sell properties at full market value. Now, there's a massive perception, people assume that investors will only buy properties if they're below market value. However, it's not a case of sometimes. One of the properties that we're going to discuss is one thing that we're going to discuss tonight is a case of not what is it now, what it could be. So someone doesn't mind paying the market value today We have to know that we can create value and increase the value later on. Does that kind of make sense? So step 2 is you. So you're the most important part of the whole process. So you as a deal sourcer, you as a deal trader, is the most important part of the whole process. How can you create a real win-win-win scenario? If you notice, there's 3 wins there, because 3 people have to win. The vendor has to win, you have to win, and the purchaser has to win. Because if the vendor doesn't win, or if they don't perceive to win, they're not going to sell the property. If you can't package it in a way that you can make some money out of it, it's kind of pointless you doing this, because you're not going to get paid for it. And if the purchaser isn't, or they don't perceive to win from the transaction, or if they don't see any value in the deal, simply the deal's not going to sell. And it really is as simple as that. So you need to make sure that you can profit from the property without being a busy fool. And you're the most important person, because you're the one that's going to be able to create the value. You're the one that's going to have the creativity and the vision for the property. And the purchaser is going to purchase the property off your vision, and as a result of them being satisfied with the transaction, they're going to return. To keep buying more and more property. And I've got hundreds of people that come back to me month in, month out, buying more and more stock. I've got a guy. I could name hundreds of people that literally I've got. Sorry, I'm just quickly okay, so yeah, no, so I've got hundreds of people month in, month out that buy lots of stock off me. You know, I've got one lady this week alone that has bought 3 out of the 5 deals, and she's a Chinese investor, traditional Chinese investor, and she just likes what we put out. So we're going to show you 2 processes tonight, 2 systems. So I've tried to make it in a manner where everyone, so I can kind of break it down as to how exactly the system works. So you might have to follow my cursor here, so stick with me. So we've got the vendor. The vendor is the one that calls me up and said, "Hi Arsh, I've got a deal, I've got a property. Is there any way that we can, can try and sell it to you? Have you got someone that can buy it?" So it comes to me. I then look at it. And I sit down with it. I'm thinking, the good thing with me is that I can sit here with a property investor's hat on, and also an estate agent's hat on it. So I could, or should I say, a letting agent's hat, because I own a group of letting agencies as well. So I look at it and think, well, what makes this property so attractive? Why would someone buy it? What's special about it? If it's a 2-bed mid-terrace property, there's a 1-bedroom flat or something, I've got to really be quite creative to think, well, how can we make this property cash flow? How can we make this cash flow? So as a result, I'm the person sitting in the centre here, on the basis that I can figure an angle out with it. I then send it out to my investor database. Now, the investor database, so let's just imagine that I've just put a deal out on Monday. Now, when we put a deal out to 103,000 property investors, we're going to take a few calls. On average, we take around between 500 and 700 calls per deal. So unfortunately, don't be disappointed if I don't always pick up the call. And believe it or not, I vet a lot of the calls myself. So yeah, so you hear it first. So when you see at the bottom of the email, please call Arsh directly. You are actually speaking to Arsh directly when you pick up the phone to me. And if you say, Arsh, okay, I like this, I'll talk you through the process, what you need to do, how we need to move forward with it. So there are lots of calls, and the reason why I like that is because people like that personal touch as well. So it goes out to investors. Investor then says, okay, Arsh, yeah, I'm interested. I want to view the property. Believe it or not, before they even view the property, they go then to stage number 3, and they pay me my fee. So I am paid straight away. Now, admittedly, I make sure that anything that we do is fully refundable. So if they go and view the property and they don't like it, the money goes back to them. But just out of curiosity, why do I do it in a manner where I get paid straight away? Yeah, feel free. This is an interactive session, so feel free to think about this now. Why do I get paid straight away? Why do I not wait? Just waiting for some of the answers. Okay, so Elizabeth says to reserve the deal. Very true. But more important, think about the logic behind this. Why do I request that whoever takes the deal has to pay the fee straight away? Okay, we've started getting a lot of right answers. So to avoid the tire kickers, to avoid time wasters. So Siggy says cash flow, not necessarily cash flow because it's fully refundable. And Philip says spot on, to show they have a serious intent. And Jordan is the one that gets it spot on perfectly. So I do not, even though I've got an exclusivity agreement between me and the vendor, which means that they're only dealing with me. If I was to send the investor directly to go and meet the vendor without being paid, there's a big chance that these two could do a deal directly and I wouldn't get paid. So as a result, I get paid first, and when those two meet, even if they do a deal direct, I don't really care because I've been paid. I'm out the equation and we go from there. And Nicola, I get my commitment from the buyer. There's some scenarios where we charge the vendor as well, but it's, you know, it's very, very rare. It's very, very rare. And as Brian says, they could steal the deal, but if I've already been paid out the centre, they're not stealing anything because they're paid for it. So does that make sense? So people say to me all the time, Arsh, why did you get your deal? Why did you get paid first? And some people are a little bit worried about paying me first. I said to them, guys, if you don't want to pay me, you know what, jog on and we'll go to the next caller. And chances are, you know, out of 500 to 700 people that we take calls, you're going to guarantee that there are going to be quite a few people that are interested. So the system, and like, this is not a traditional estate agency method, because estate agents get paid at the end of the transaction. They get paid at the end on completion, whereas I get paid up front. Okay, I do mine in a manner where it's fully refundable right up to the point of exchange. So it's held in an account so that no one touches the money until it's completed. But at least that way I know I've got my commitment and the investor is committed to the deal. So process number 2 is very simple. Have I done this? Okay. Let me just quickly go back, just go think. So yeah, okay. So that's the traditional method. Process number 2 is that okay, so here's one. So let's just say that I found a deal on an online portal and I contact the vendor as opposed to the vendor contacting me. Does that make sense? In the previous one, the vendor, the owner calls me and says, Arsh, I'm looking to sell my property. In this scenario, I'm calling them and saying, hi, is that Mr. Smith? I've noticed that you're trying to sell your property privately online. You know, my name's Arsh Ellahi. Here's what I am. Here's what I do. Would you be of interest? So I generally put a proposal to the vendor. The vendor will then come back to me and say, hi, Arsh, okay, thought about it. Would you like to come and meet me at the property, or would you know, can we start to move forward? And as a result of that, that's when I put it out to an investor. And in the same scenario, the investor pays me first before they go to the vendor. So the payment system is exactly the same. So that's why I will put that on there. So they're the most 2 common approaches, but believe it or not, you know, regardless of whether I contact the vendor and the vendor contacts me, I make sure that I get paid. Because let's face it, without me, this would not happen. So I started trading properties in 2000. I set up a company called webuypropertiesfast. I'm quite creative as a person. And I suppose that, you know, that's a great thing, because I started all my businesses with actually 0 capital. Prior to the market crash, Arsh was trading up to 30 deals a month. Believe it or not, 30 deals a month is actually not a lot in comparison to what I did last year. So last year was my best year ever. And when I started advertising for properties back in the year 2000, I was one of the first guys that started advertising in the back of the paper, in the back of the classified newspapers. And I say, you know, I can buy your property for cash, call me, I can complete within 7 days, no solicitors fees, the basic stuff. And then I started to notice towards 2002, 2003, it started to get a little bit more competitive. Previously, I was the first one in the back of the paper. By 2002, 2003, there's pretty much like 20 or 30 other companies advertising. So we had Call Dave, we had Pink Property, which was a, you know, their angle was that they were all a female company to try and get female vendors on side. I thought that was quite clever. So I had to go one step ahead. So instead of advertising in the back of the paper, the next thing that I started to do, I went off and got high street presence. So this is my office. I've still got this office, believe it or not, based in Chapel Ash in Wolverhampton. And then I went out with full page advertising with my office pretty much as the front picture, saying, you know what, instead of calling me, well, still call me, but why don't you come down and sit, have a coffee with me? So instead of me visiting you, why don't you come and visit me? Because at least you know that I exist, at least you know that I've got high street presence, and at least you know that I can't disappear off the end of a phone. And that kind of blew all of my that kind of blew all my competitors out the water, because all my competitors were one-man bands operating off a pay-as-you-go phone. So the high street presence blew everyone out. So the majority of the leads that I do, the majority of the leads that we generate are online and offline marketing strategies, and they give me a continuous flow of deals daily. And the majority of leads are free. So we don't spend a mass amount. I can tell you, last year, I can tell you, okay. So Amanda's coming, and I can tell also already that Amanda's quite a cautious young lady. So she goes, what happens if the investor says they're not interested, they get the refund, and then goes back to the vendor to deal direct? Now, Amanda, believe it or not, been there, done that, seen it happen. I've got an agreement with the vendor. So I've got an agreement with the owner, which gives me an exclusive period to that property. So even if the vendor, you've got to remember that if Mr. Smith says that they're not interested, I've got a list of people, almost like a cancellation list. I will then call up the next person, Mr. Oh, I don't know, give me Mr. Newman. Gary's, I just seen Gary there. So Mr. Newman, I'll call up Mr. Newman. Hi, Mr. Newman. Yeah, okay. Mr. Smith has had a change of heart. Are you still interested in the property? If so, would you like to get over there today or tomorrow? But before you do that, you've got to reserve the property. Boom, 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 boom. And we keep moving on. Does that make sense? So I've got the vendor. That vendor can't go anywhere whilst I'm locked into that property. So I've got all the documentation that allows you to do this. So this week, we're going to go back into week. So we're looking at the week beginning, just so that you know, and for the purpose of this. So yeah, it's a week beginning Monday the 8th, finishing Friday the 12th. So we're talking 5 days, and this week we've done 5 deals. Now these guys are real people. So we've got Helen and Gareth Firth. They started sourcing, believe it or not, in 2016. They've still got full-time jobs, so they both work for the police force up towards Manchester. They've got a very young family. They've got 2 very young daughters, I think 4 and 2, which are similar to mine. And they've got a great reason why. Their great reason why is that they want to build up sufficient cash flow per calendar month so that they can start to reduce their hours and eventually cut the, leave the police force full time in order to make property their full-time occupation. And their sourcing technique is very simple. Very simple indeed. They only work with estate agents. Okay, so Philip Wilder said, how can the Firths find good deals in estate agents? Right, here we go. I'm going to show you exactly how. So let's go on to their deal. Right, so here we have it, guys. So deal number 1. I've managed to do it so that we can pull up the deal. And we're going to have a look at this. So did everyone see this deal come out on Monday? This is the one that came out on Monday. So 20% below market value property, 2-bedroom terrace, Colton Road, current market value 90 grand. And that's what it was being advertised with an estate agent. They managed to negotiate a small discount, not a massive discount, believe it or not, 74,300. However, the property had massive massive opportunity to add value because the property was a little bit tired. And the conservative market value was 120,000, and we charged a finder's fee of 3,000 on that. Did everyone see this deal, by the way? Okay, so Nicholas said, how long would you agree an exclusive period with a vendor? Now, it all varies, and it all comes down to how good your negotiation tactic is. So it could be, well, you know, something as small as 2 to 3 days, and the longest one I've ever managed to do, I think, was 56 days. So, okay, so Brian said he didn't see it. Quite a few people saying that they have seen it. So what I'm going to do, quickly click on that, and I'm hoping, it works fantastic. So here's the deal that came through. So one person said that they're not on my email list. So if that one person said that they're not on my email list, what you can do is copy that link into your web browser. You can press join my email list, and you will start to get my emails. So here's the email. So it's in Colton Road, Ashton and Lyne. So current market value around 90 grand, conservative value after works 120,000, purchase price 74 grand. So here's what we did. You know, we had a builder, well, Helen and Gareth managed, whilst they went and viewed this property, believe it or not, because they were actually going to buy this one for themselves. But they decided not to in the end. So they got a builder out to do a quote. And the quote was about 18,300. We went through the rentals, 6,000 per annum, which is about £500 a month. And I always put a vision in so that an investor can pretty much have a look at it and see what they think of it. And the pictures, we always put the pictures. And you know, a lot of the time we use a lot of the pictures directly from the agents. So we don't physically go out and take pictures of the property. So as you can see, the property is in need of a lot of work. You know, it's not a case of just repainting and redecorating. It needs new kitchen, it needs a new bathroom, it needs stripping off. And there's a lot of work to be done there. And here's what we did. We showed the floor plan. And again, you can see that's an estate agent's floor plan. That's the estate agent's floor plan. We put a location plan. We've shown a comparable of something on the same road selling for 125,000 earlier this year. And as a result, we've shown people how much that they have to require to get involved if they wanted to buy it with bridging finance. And as a result, we've shown what the return on investment is. And we move on. So did everyone see that deal, by the way? So everyone's saying yes. Okay, so that was deal number one. And so they dealt directly with the estate agent. They deal directly with the estate agent, and they go in and they tell the estate agent from day one what they're looking to achieve. They buy themselves, but as a result, they also sell to other investors. Now, in this scenario, the estate agent still makes their commission because the estate agent makes a commission off the seller. We made our commission off the buyer. Do you reckon the estate agent is happy with us? Because we've done all the work for them. We've sold the property for them. They haven't had to advertise it. They haven't had to go and do a load of viewings. And literally, we've done one viewing, and we had a Chinese investor go and just literally said yes. We started the ball rolling, so we've got solicitors involved, and it all moves forward from there. So, deal number two, you might recognise that guy on the right-hand side. I'm sick of looking at him, to be perfectly honest. His name's Arsh Ellahi. So I started sourcing in the year 2000. My reason why is very simple. I've got a very young family. I want to make sure that they have the best life possible. And that is my reason why. I want to give them everything that I can give them. I don't want them to be materialistic, but I want them to have a fantastic education. I want them to be well-travelled, and I want them to not have to struggle in life. So that's my reason why. Now, this one, the second property that we're going to look at is direct to vendor. So I drove past this property. Hang on. Yes, I drove past this property. Now, I didn't go inside it. I was on the way to another meeting, and I saw a sign saying to let. So it's pretty much a handwritten sign in the window saying to let. So I decided, because I thought originally when I saw that, I thought, is there a potential angle for rent to rent here? The potential angle for like a lease option or something like that? I thought, well, I'll tell you what, let me speak to the owner. Let me see what we can do. So I picked up the phone to him. Hi, yeah, my name's Arsh. This is who I am. This is what I do. He goes, okay, yeah. And I just said to him, have you ever considered potentially selling the property? He goes, well, the thought has crossed my mind. He goes, that last year, he goes, I haven't had the time to commit to the property. He goes, every time we have a vacancy, because I'm so busy, he goes, that I'm not really putting much commitment to it. And yeah, if someone came and offered me the right money, I'd consider selling it. And I said to him, well, you know, you tell me, what is your consideration of what the right money is? He goes, well, I'd really pretty much want market value. I said, okay. So we did some research. We looked at the market value was circa around 210,000, but it's currently producing 28,000. So this is, let's make no false assumptions here. This is full market value. And we put it out, and I said to him, well, what we'll do, we'll put it out and we'll see if we can sell it to our investor. And here it is. Did everyone see this go out on Tuesday? So it's a 5-bedroom studio model, and the phone rang off the hook. Pretty much 5 self-contained studios. It's got the existing tenants in there, so you can see it's got professional working tenants in there. It's got the current income. It's got the pictures. So it's pretty much, as you can see, my format is very simple. I show exactly what we can show for the property, and this is the property in all its glory. And you know, it's a fantastic property. It's just completely done out. And again, these are all the pictures from the vendor. As you can see, it's close to the hospital, and as a result, that's deal number 2. We put it out, the phone rang off, sourcing fee 5 grand. So first deal, 3 grand. Second deal, 5 grand. Phone rang, someone called, someone reserved, someone viewed, someone's happy. But we keep moving on. So deal number 3, oh, here I am again. My reason why still remains the same. This one is direct to vendor. And believe it or not, when I drove past, I'm always on the lookout. I'm very eagle-eyed. I drove past and I saw this elderly couple coming out of this house, and the house had no curtains. It looked grubby, it looked dirty. And I said to her, I just pulled up, and I'm very straightforward to the point. I said, guys, okay, is this a rental property? And I said to him, is this a rental property? He goes, yeah. He goes, we've just had a family just move out just before Christmas. I said, okay, what's the vision? What you can do with it? He goes, don't know. He goes, we're getting a bit too old. You know, the last tenants haven't left it in the best shape, and we're going to have to spend a load of money on it. And I said, whilst I'm here, you know, do you want me to have a look at it? Because I said, I've also got a team of builders. I've got a team of builders, and that could potentially help you out if it's going to make it a little bit cheaper for you. And elderly Asian couple. And I said, okay. So I thought I'd do my bit to try and help them as and where I can. At the point, I didn't think much was going to come of it. And I said, well, really, the house needed about 5 grand's worth of work on it. I said to him, I said, how much were you charging rent? He goes, as a single let, we're charging circa around $450 a month, which is about 5 grand a year. I said, so you're going to put a whole year's rental income just to get the property out. I said, how long was the property let for? They go, a year. So they've just let the property for a whole year, generating 5,000, and they've got quite a high mortgage on it. And as a result, when the tenants left, it's cost them 5,000. How is that even business sense? So I said, I'll tell you what, guys, have you ever considered selling it? And they go, well, would you reckon you could sell it for us? Because he goes, we've got quite a high mortgage on it. I think the mortgage on there was circa 68,000. So they're not going to make a lot from it. And they said, yeah, we're happy for a quiet life. You know, if we can get circa 75, you know, we might consider selling it. So I looked at it and I thought, okay, because they had it. They said that they had been running it. They had been running it as a HMO as well. So next door sold in the auction for 71,000, but that was a property in need of full modernisation. They are motivated vendors, so they wanted someone to move quickly. The property's got 4 bedrooms. I'll tell you what, let's go through to the full advert. 4 bedrooms, 1 communal lounge, 1 communal kitchen, 1 communal bathroom. Wolverhampton's now in Article 4 area. It's been Article 4 since September 2017, but this has got existing use HMO, existing HMO use. And what I've put in here, I've got tradespeople in this location who could do all the works in my team, would also manage the property, allowing you a complete hands-off opportunity. And again, I don't know if there's anyone online that actually inquired about this property. I'm just trying to think. Apologies if you, let's just have a quick look who we got. Not 100% sure. But anyway, here's a property. Again, it's got all the fire doors. We've shown what it can produce. So it's a, you can see the house, it needs a bit of work on the side. It needs painting inside. It's just very grubby. It's very dirty. That's the best way of describing it. And it's 1.7 miles away from the local hospital. And the aim is to continue using it as a 4-bed HMO. Some refurb costs is going to be £5 grand. So we've put all that in there. But as a result, a return on investment is a whopping 30%. And I could have sold this with no word of a lie, best part of 50 times. I've got people offering me saying that they would give more than 75 grand, but I'm an ethical trader. Once I take a fee off one person, we're going to move forward with that person. Unless they come back and say otherwise, we're going to move forward with that person. I had loads of people saying, Arsh, I'll up your fee. I'll up your fee to try and get the deal done. But if that one person sent me that money and they've acted in good faith, I will also act in good faith. So I've got a picture of Sam. So this is deal number 4. Sam Newman is a guy that pretty much approached me. I've been working with Sam since November last year. Lost his job. He's trying to use property as a vehicle to rebuild his career. So he's completely new to property, but he's got a lot of drive, a lot of ambition, and he pulled together a real cracker. He's got quite a few sourcing techniques. So combination of agents and vendors. So the one that we're going to look at today is direct to vendor. So did anyone see the 14-bedroom HMO that we put out this week in Bolton? So Castle Street, Bolton. It's got 10 rooms occupied out of the 14. It's got 2 communal lounges. Again, let's have a quick look at the email. So sorry, let's not give away too much. Where's my cursor gone? No, I seem to have lost my cursor. Let's just have a quick look. There we go. So here we go. I'm going to quickly open this one. Standard format. I've got a very standard format. So this is the kind of stuff that, and you know, if you were to come and work with me, this is the kind of format that I want the deals presented in, so that I don't have to do all the research. The whole point of it is that you send it in a format which I can literally look at and see if it's a viable deal. If I don't believe in it, it doesn't go out. It really is as simple as that. So we looked at location. Royal Bolton Hospital is 2.5 miles away, 0.7 miles away from Bolton City Centre. It's got very close. Bolton Shopping Centre close. It's got the HMO fire doors. It's got the HMO licence, which was granted in August 2017. Got all the existing tenancies. It's got what the existing income is. It's got what the potential increase in income is. And it's got the pictures, and we've shown some tenants, and we've shown what the license application shows there. We've shown the distance to the hospital. I think, yeah, we've shown the distance to the hospital, which is 2.4 miles. We've shown the vision. We've shown the cash flow. We've shown the cash flow on its existing. We've shown the cash flow on what it's potential could be if the rents were lifted. We've shown how much is required without refurb. We've shown how much would be required with refurb. Hang on, sorry. So without refurb and with refurb costs. So did everyone see that one? Was anyone tempted by that one, by the way, should I say? Okay, so deal number 5. I've got a lot of admiration for these guys. So here we are. So we've got Martin and Elliot. I think I've spelled Elliot wrong. It's E-double-L and 1T. Apologies, Elliot, if you're watching. And they're father and son team. Great guys, really good guys. So Elliot finished his A-levels last year. So he's a young lad. He's 18 years old. Martin, his full-time property, he's left his job because he started sourcing in August 2017. He's left his job and he's made properties full-time occupation. So he's got a couple of other commercial to residential projects in the back. He's got commercial to residential projects in the background. I've been working with these guys for approximately a year because I'm also mentoring them as well. So their sourcing techniques is something peculiar because I don't know what they've said to estate agents, but they're what I do, but I can't share it, is the honest answer. They're getting deals before they even hit the market. So there they are, outside Bridgefords. As you can see next to Bridgefords, you've got a John Butters B. They're getting estate agents to call them before the deal's actually hitting the market. And it's phenomenal what they're doing. Like I said, just nothing but pure admiration for these guys. This is their deal. Now, one thing that I haven't told you is that this is their deal that we put out on Friday afternoon. And admittedly, I made a bit of a mistake because I was rushing. I forgot to put the wrong photos. On first time round, so I had to send it out again with the right photos. And this is a property that they managed to source 55% below the end product value. And this was Andrew Street. This was Greater in Bury. End value 85,000, and the way that we justified that, sorry, I think we've lost the cursor again, was because they actually got an independent agent to go out and value it. So Belvoir went out and valued it, so dear Mr. Webb, and they valued it at 89,995. So just short of 90 grand. We put the end value as 85, which is more realistic. You know, everyone puts 90 grand, but we took off a surplus, a bit of surplus there. Purchase price 40 grand. Phenomenal deal. Did anyone see this one? Was anyone tempted by this one? And again, the sourcing fee was T. Now, the one thing that I forgot to tell you is that, believe it or not, these guys actually had two of these. So they had 24 Andrew Street, and they had another one 3 streets away. And the aim was, I was going to put them both out, but I said to Martin and Elliot, what I'll do is we'll sell this one, and with all the other interested parties, I will then sell them the other one. Say, sorry, this one's gone, but here's another one that we've got. So we actually sold 6 deals this week. But the reason why I said 5 is because you guys have only seen 5 come out on email. We do this all the time. So, if I've got other deals that are similar, so for argument's sake, if someone called me about, just to give you an example, someone called me about this HMO, I've got another HMO a mile or so away, I can say, guys, okay, this one has gone, but however, I've got another property similar that, on the same kind of terms, are you interested? And 9 times out of 10, we manage to sell that at the same time, so we get 2 bites at the cherry. So, keep moving on. So, just having a quick look at the email that we put out. So, like I said, I had to put apologies amended with the correct pictures. And you saw the pictures here. Let's have a quick look at the pictures. So we've got the estate agent's letter. We can see the pictures here. The property is in need. The property is in need of massive works. You can see the plastering, someone started, but they're nowhere near finished. You can see that all the rooms needed doing, and we're not hiding anything from anyone. We're not hiding anything from anyone at all, because there's no purpose, because otherwise what will happen is that someone will reserve it, they'll then go off and have a look at it, have a look at all the comparables. There's nothing less, well, other than that one back in earlier 2017, everything else is above 90 grand. And we've said 85. So, you know, there's some, and we've put a location in there. So you can see that what we've actually offered is very conservative. And we've got the valuation there. And there we have it. So we had a Chinese investor that was interested in that, and she bought both of them. She bought that one, and she bought the one 3 streets away as well. Okay, so Wahid says, and this is a great question, he goes, what's stopping people going on Rightmove and finding these properties themselves? Okay, so first of all, the ones, just so that you know, today, Wahid, this one wasn't on Rightmove. This one wasn't on Rightmove. The 14-bed HMO wasn't on Rightmove. The 4-bedroom HMO wasn't on Rightmove. The 5-bedroom studio model was on Rightmove. The only one that was on Rightmove was on Ashton and the Line. Now, Wahid, if you can tell me what area you're going to locate, what area you're going to concentrate on, and how you're going to find the time to find the deals that I find, you will never be able to find the deals that I find, is the honest answer. Because you don't know what area we're looking at, and you only become aware of the property once I've put it in front of you, is the honest answer. Because before, let's just say that Wahid's based in London, what's the chances of him looking for a property in Bolton? So keep moving on. So 5 deals, well, technically speaking, we've done 6 deals in 5 days, and I've just worked on 5 deals at 19 grand in sourcing fees. Deals done by people just like you. The reason why I love deal trading is because there's no risk. You know, if we don't sell the deal, there's nothing at risk other than a bit of time. We haven't actually committed ourselves. Well, we haven't committed ourselves to the vendor where we've had to pay them anything. Pretty much like an estate agency. They don't sell the property. There's nothing ventured, nothing gained, other than they've spent money on marketing. I've spent money on marketing by sending the deal out via email, and that's not really cost me anything. The only barrier to entry is your determination to make a better life for you and your family, and that's, you know, I stand by that. Your success is guaranteed. You follow a proven system and you take committed action. And as I say, estate agents need your help, as houses will not sell themselves. Homeowners will need your help, as they may have previously been let down by estate agents. So Philip has come here. So he goes, all these people are just coming to you to use your investor database, and is it 50-50 share on the sourcing deal? You've got it spot on there, Philip. Yes, so if anyone sells a deal through me, it's 50-50, but the only people that I work with that are potentially being trained by me. So I'm going to go through that shortly. So estate agents, believe it or not, have pain and motivation because they want to sell as many houses as possible. They want to sell houses as quickly as possible. They want to sell them as easily as possible, and they want to make their commission. And when they have a tired property, they will struggle to sell it to a first-time buyer. And property investors and property developers are more likely to buy it because there's more chance of an angle to purchase. So I'm going to put this out there. There are people just like you succeeding at deal trading. So we've got Vicky, we've got Alfred, we've got Roger, we've got Ryan, we've got Colin, we've got Chris. Now, believe it or not, Chris Dench is actually based in Bulgaria, and he's deal trading in the UK, even though he's based in Bulgaria. We've got Sandeep, who's based in Derby. We've got Daryl and Graham, who are based up towards, well, Daryl's actually based in Birmingham way, but Graham is based all towards the Wirral. And these are guys that I've pretty much trained working. We've got Simon. Is Simon online? Sorry, Simon. I think I've used an old picture for you, mate. So got Simon Paul there. We've got Sharon there, and we've got Desi. We've got he's an extraordinary young man on the left. Well, actually, all three are very extraordinary young people. So we've got Russell. Russell has been deal trading whilst he's been sat in Marbella. We've got Tutu, who's based in Wolverhampton, and she's consistently deal sourcing only rent-to-rent deals. And we've got Christina Peake, who's based in the West Midlands in Birmingham, or she won't likely say Birmingham. I think it's Sutton Coldfield. We've got Ellie, we've got Martin and Elliot and Musin, and we've got Helen and Gareth, and we've got Giresh on the right-hand side, and we've got Nick Swell on the left. So Giresh, again, is only deal sourcing for his own personal rent-to-rent portfolio. And these are all guys that are literally doing it. Tutu started her deal sourcing journey in 2017. The aim was simple: to source properties purely for herself, sell nothing and keep everything for her own portfolio, starting with no money. Within 6 months, she sourced and retained 9 rent-to-rent properties all around the Midlands, and is netting circa £8,000 a month cash flow, circa £100,000 per annum, all within a period of 6 months. No previous property experience, and all she did is she simply followed the system to a T. Now, Christina Peake, based in Sutton Coldfield, started deal sourcing in November 2017. Her aim is simple: source properties and simply trade all of them, allowing her to make enough cash flow to take her family on holiday in 2018. That she's got a big wife. She's got 2 very young children as well. She's a full-time mom. She's in full-time occupation, and she's also got 2 very young kids, and she's also got an acting career as well. So she hasn't got a lot of time, and she's doing this all with no starting capital. And within the space of 1 month, I've spelled Christina wrong, damn. Christina sourced 3 ready-made HMOs by going direct to the vendor. She simply sourced, packaged and sold them to my database, netting her £3,000 per property, which is £9 grand in 1 month. So it's crazy that Christina started with no knowledge of property whatsoever, and within a month, she's done 3 phenomenal deals. No previous property experience, she simply followed the system to a T. And here's one of her deals, believe it or not, that you saw in December. One of the HMOs that we put out in Doncaster, the Crescent. Market value was 100,000. She managed to negotiate 15% discount. And it sold within a space, I think, of about 45 minutes. Most of the deals sell within about an hour. So here's some of the locations, but we cover pretty much nationwide. So we start from Scotland, going right down towards Bournemouth, and right down towards the south coast, going over towards the eastern and the west coast. We cover the whole country. I don't think there's a town or city that I haven't traded a deal in. Cornwall, okay, so Brian, as you said, Cornwall, yes, we have done deals in Cornwall, Brian. Now, here's a deal that Martin and Elliot sourced. Here's one of the deals that we put out in the last working week of Christmas, before Christmas. So did you see this one, the mixed-use commercial property? Planning permission to create 4 two-bedroom apartments above. Purchase price 250 grand. And it's currently producing 25 grand just off these 2 shops alone. So these are all real deals. Okay, so Philip Wall said Surrey is not there. Believe it or not, I haven't listed every single location just to give you a feel of areas, but we have done deals in Surrey. And now here's one extraordinary young gentleman. I spoke about him last week. So Raheel, here's a gentleman called Raheel Jakora. He's living in Saudi Arabia, and he's still deal sourcing in the UK. He's currently working 72 hours a week. So he's doing 6 days at 12 hours a day. And he's sometimes has, he's working a lot of time. He's working a lot and sometimes neglecting his family. Now, Raheel has been working with me for just under a year. And Raheel last year did the best part of, I think it was 30 deals. I'll have to check the exact number, but I think it was circa around 30 deals. Here's one of them you would have seen on email. It was in Hartlepool, which was a 6-bed professional HMO. We had Rahil managed to get off the owner the valuation report that they had done, and the valuation came in at circa 270,000, but the purchase price was 135,000. Again, another great deal. And he did that without visiting the property, by simply just sourcing it from Saudi Arabia. So you guys got to do the maths. 483 deals in 2017, where the average fee was circa around 4 grand. No capital input into any of the deals, and they simply just sourced, packaged, and sold the deal. So here's what we're going to do. There's a third. What I'm doing, starting in the first week of February, is I'm going to create something called the 30-day challenge, where I want to do 30 deals in 30 days, and you can be a part of that. Basically, what I've created, well, 2 years ago, I created a program specifically to create a load of deal sources across the UK. The program is called the Elite Property Tribe, and the aim is within the first month to get you your first deal by giving you lots of support, trying to get you your deal, giving you lots of training to show you what to look for, how to negotiate, what you should be getting, what kind of information you should be getting, how to sell the deal to either your own or my database, and feel the buzz of doing the deal. There's no better adrenaline rush than putting the phone down to someone who's saying that they want the deal. I've done thousands, tens of thousands of property deals, and still I can't explain the adrenaline rush. I give myself like a little fist pump and go, yes, I've still got it. And if you speak to any of my members of staff, they'll tell you they know when I've done a deal. And pretty much I do that fist pump pretty much every day, twice a day. So what I'm saying is that I'm creating a 30-day challenge where we're going to do 30 deals in 30 days. I'm not going to say that everyone's going to do 30 deals each, but collectively we can do a lot more. I would say I've set the bar very low at 30. I would be extremely surprised if we don't do 60. So imagine doing a deal within a month of starting and paying for your whole year's education from one deal. So what is the Elite Property Tribe? It's 52 weeks of online training where I teach you how to source 6 cash flow strategies, deal trading strategies, rent-to-rent strategies, lease option strategies, HMO strategies, serviced accommodation strategies, and commercial to residential. You're given all the contracts, all the spreadsheets, and all the checklists, everything that you need to succeed with all of the cash flow strategies. I've got all the documentation that you require. I've got the profit calculator sheets, which is pretty much a calculator where you just put the figures in and it will tell you straight away whether it's a yes or no, whether it's a deal worth pursuing or not. And you get all my proven sourcing templates. When it comes to the program, it's more so a mentorship and an accountability program. I'm pretty much at the end of the phone. So I've got a call booking system. So what you have to do, you just literally book in a call where we get 10 minutes at a time, and you can have as many of those booking slots as you want. You've got my personal mobile number, and anytime you run into a roadblock, you just literally pick up the phone to me. And the beautiful thing is that I only teach strategies that I've done myself, so that you don't have to suffer the mistakes that I made very early on. I know what you should be looking for, know what you should be avoiding. And so you've got to use that. So every week you'll be getting weekly training and Q&A webinars for a whole year to give you the skill set, the motivation that you need to source, trade, and flip properties. You get access to an online property portal. And just so that you know, I'll give you a quick rundown. So we've got a platform called the elitepropertytribe.co.uk. And in there, I'm just going to quickly log in as me. Everyone gets their own unique username. Everyone gets their own unique password. And so let's just quickly, you get to see the documents that we've got. Every webinar is recorded. Every webinar is recorded, so you know, depending on what intake you're in, every webinar is recorded. We set you up with a buddy scheme so that you join up with another partner, so that you make it easier. Two brains and two heads are better than one. We've got a forum. We've got a whole curriculum. We've got the live, you know, we had a live meet yesterday. So here's a whole curriculum, a whole 52-week curriculum that we cover. The live meet, so we had a live meet yesterday that was fully recorded. That will be there, so anyone, and we've got all the webinars are pretty much recorded all throughout the year, so you can come back and watch these at any time. You've got my useful contacts, so you get to use all my contacts. So you get access to our online portal with all the webinar recordings, just in case you miss one. You get all my documents, leaflets, and letters that you can use to source deals immediately. You get access to my power team. You get the opportunity, well, you get to join the supportive community. I'm going to quickly, let's see if I can log in. I'm not sure if I will, but I can. Oh, I can, yeah. So this is something that I'm pretty much in every day. And what we're doing, so here we go. So we've got Christina. So here we go. So following on from Wednesday's webinar. So here's the Elite Property Tribe. Here's the Elite Property Tribe, and here's said live recording was in there. Plan to secure lease. So I've got people listing their goals every day. I want to see. So that was my goal this morning. I went out and did a 30.5-mile run. So I'm in it pretty much every day. So you get a full WhatsApp group, and we've also got the forum on the platform as well. So there's lots of communication between the groups, so that between all members, and they'll inspire you with their success, so that you can share, so that they can share their experiences with you, so that again you can avoid costly mistakes. There's a quarterly physical meeting, so we meet up every quarter. Like yesterday, we had 4 very good speakers. And more importantly, you can sell every deal you source in less than 2 days when you JV with me with my 100,000 investor database. You've got access to the WhatsApp group that we've just seen, and I'll show you how to instantly become a lead magnet that effortlessly pulls in between 6 and 10 deals a month. And I'll also be teaching you the question, what to avoid, what questions to avoid when you're in front of a vendor. Because a vendor is predominantly only after one thing: how much will you give me for my house? I don't even talk about values of properties until we're literally speaking about, until I've done my research on the property, because I don't want to stop the negotiation there on. I want to do pretty much know that I can go in and do the deal. I'm going to show you how to shine a spotlight on your deal so that investors are desperate to have it. And this is what I've done. I've created a whole platform so that you've got all the documentation, you've got all the templates, and you can even sell it to my database on the basis that deals sell. And if anything, this week is a prime example of 6 deals in 5 days. And I'll be showing you how to build your own database and how to build a lasting relationship with your investors so that they become repeat customers for your deals and houses. You don't have to sell them to my database. And I'll be talking about how much is too much when it comes to a sourcing fee, so that you don't outprice yourself. And more importantly, you don't also undersell yourself as well. So you don't want to put it too high so that it doesn't sell. You don't want to put it too low so that you've not made enough from it. And you'll also be shown how to flip properties. So I'll be even showing you. So you might turn around and say, oh, okay, I really like this deal, but I may not have the funds to do it. I'll also be showing you ways that you can actually creatively finance your deals. And that's part of my power team. I'll be showing you lots of little marketing tactics, how to generate leads to get the phone to ring for months. Just so you know, this is one that I've been doing for year in, year out. Cost me approximately £57 to put an advert in, and the content in that advert will get it so that it will get enough investors to buy your houses and your deals. So like I said, we've got a 52-week agenda. So every week we've got a different strategy and a different webinar. And believe it or not, you've got 100, well, best part of 150 other webinars that you can catch up on from previous intakes. Now, just so that you get, if you were to come and do a one-on-one mentorship with me, it would cost you 12 grand. So I'm not cheap in any way, shape or form, purely because my experience alone is worth more than that. So what we've done is with the Elite Property Tribe, we've actually slashed it in half. It is 6,000, but you don't pay 6,000. Don't panic. What you're doing, you get weekly mentorship for the price of, for the weekly mentorship for half the price, plus you get access to the supportive community. What we're saying is that for you to join the Elite Property Tribe, you only pay 50%, which is £3,000. You can pay upfront, or you can pay in 3 installments, 3 monthly installments. So all you pay is 3,000, and then the other 3,000 to make up the full is only paid once you do deals. So if you don't do any deal for whatever reason, and I'll be extremely surprised if you don't do a deal, you've only paid 3,000 for your education, which is equivalent to £60 a month. Which, sorry, £60 a week, which is crazy, because you get all the documents, the rent-to-rent contracts, the lease option contracts alone are worth more than £3,000. Here's what we offer. We actually offer 100% money-back guarantee. So if you're not happy, if you join the Elite Property Tribe and you participate in the weekly webinars, if for whatever reason you are not completely satisfied after 30 days, all you do is you send me an email and I'll give you a refund. No questions asked, no hassles or forms to fill out, no problems. So to join the EPT for 3,000, all you do is you go to that link, arshellahi.com/EPT 2018, and the first webinar starts on Wednesday, the 7th of February, and that is the first time that we're going to start the 30 deals in 30 days. I only work with people who are in the EPT, and going back, Christina started trading 3 deals, has traded 3 deals, and is in the process of building her own investor database. The deals that we've done together, 3 HMOs in Doncaster, where we charged 3,000 each. Russell has sourced and traded deals since January 2017, and he sold his first deal for 3,000. He's sourced through all his deals are all sourced through auction houses, so the cost is 0. The deal was sold in less than a day. Russell has done this whilst living abroad in Marbella. Russell has gone on to source a further 10 deals whilst abroad. Now, the question that I'm going to ask is that any of the people I've shown you today any different to you? The answer is no, they're not. All they've done is they've put their doubts aside for long enough to give this a try at no risk to them. And what they've achieved are unbelievable results in just 1 month. Results that they've been able to replicate month after month. And how good would it feel to one day write your letter of resignation to your boss, because every month for the last 3 months you've been making circa 5 grand. So you've got to ask yourself, when is that day? What was your resolution for 2018? Are you going to make this the best year that you've ever had? If that's the case, what you need is a proven system to make pretty much holiday-sized bundles of cash, starting with student-sized savings, where you get weekly training, access to my power team, access to the whole community. You even get to come and shadow me in my office whenever you want within the year. So you get to come and sit opposite me, listening on my phone calls, so that I can literally point you in the direction where you should be looking, what you should be looking, and what deals you should be looking at. Because when you join the EPT for 3,000 today, I'm actually making an investment into your future, because we're only getting 50% of the actual fee. You can either pay in 1 payment, or you can actually pay in 3 full payments. And I always get asked this question: can a simple system really do this for you? Well, it's been doing it for me since the year 2000. You've seen through the success of people like Raheel. You've seen this week through the success of Helen and Gareth. and you've seen through the success of Martin and Elliot. These are just two of the people that have sent deals through this week, and they've been successful and they've sold their deals. We've also talked about Raheel alone, who has succeeded with all the odds stacked against him, based in a different country. And the one thing that I'll say, it's not in my interest to make false promises or false claims, because I'm actually only requesting 50% of what's required. As you can see, you'll succeed as fast as possible. I want you to succeed as fast as possible. I'd like to see the EPT and deal trading giving you the luxury you've always wanted. And as a result, I've always given you my 100% money back guarantee within 30 days. So to join, very simply, you go to that link. Because what I want to do, what my aim is to create the largest group of exceptional deal sources in the UK. So just to recap, and then what we're going to do, we're going to go into some Q&A. By the way, if you've got questions, now's the time to start typing them in, because we've got quite a lot of time to answer the questions. So what you're going to get: weekly training, webinars to give you the skill set and motivation that you need to source, trade deals and flip houses. You get access to my online portal, elitepropertytribe.co.uk, with all the webinar recordings, and all the recordings of all the live events. You get to JV with me to sell deals and houses. You get access to the private Facebook group. You get access to the WhatsApp group. You get access to all the quarterly meetings. You get to attend all the quarterly meetings. And more importantly, you get access to all my documents. That's the key to it. You get all my documents, you get all my spreadsheets and everything. You get access to my whole power team of architects, accountants, lawyers, mortgage brokers. These are all the people that I use on a day-to-day basis. And like I said, here's a WhatsApp group in all its glory. And then the platform that we looked at as well. And then here's some of the flow charts that I've created, which pretty much allows you to sit down, look at them, go through them systematically, and see how you can make this work for you. And more importantly, what kind of question you should be asking in order to ensure that it's a deal to be done. Okay, so wait there. So question that's come in, first question that's come in. So Philip, he said, what rough percentage would you charge on a deal? So in Surrey, there are expensive properties. So say 500 grand to and another for 750 grand. What would you charge? So it depends, because you've got to have a look at, okay, 500 grand to 750 grand. What's the angle with it? Is it cash flow? Are you going to make cash flow from a property of that value? I doubt it. So what is the angle there? Yeah, a normal estate agent would charge on it anywhere between 1% and 2%, which is circa 7,500 to 15,000, between 1% and 2%. Sorry, between 5,000 and 10,000, between 1% and 2% on the 500,000, and 7,500 to 15,000 for the property at 750,000. So straight away, there's my parameter. But I would need to, you know, if I think there's a greater gain to be had there as a result of the vision that you present, there's no reason why you can't charge more. Just give me an example. There was a property in East Sussex, a hotel that we presented. Purchase price was 660 grand. We actually charged 60 grand for that deal. So 10% we charged for that deal. And we got paid it. So the way that we did it there is that the person, they paid 10 grand for the fee just straight away, because 60 grand was a lot to take in one go. And then the other 50 grand was secured with their solicitor. So, and that was held to our order. So question by Tanya. She goes, hi Arsh, she goes, are there any regulations that you have to abide by when you do this? Yes, of course. So if you're setting up as a deal sourcer, you need to be compliant. So you will need to be registered. If you're actually deal sourcing, and if you're actually marketing the properties yourself, you'll need to be registered with people like the PRS, sorry, Property Redress Scheme. Yeah. PRS, property redress scheme, you'll have to have some form of indemnity insurance policy. You need to be registered with the property ombudsman, and all in all, it costs about £2,500 for the year to be fully compliant with all the different companies. However, if you're not marketing them and you're literally sourcing them and you want to sell them to my database, you don't need to worry about that, because I am compliant, and as a result, you would just leverage off my. You would just have to leverage on mine. Okay, so let's just have a quick look. Okay, so Amanda says, do you have to refuse many deals that brought to you? Absolutely, Amanda. Yeah, I'm not going to say that every deal is a deal, but hopefully if you've taken in the training in the correct way, there's no reason why you shouldn't be spending a load of time on deals that don't stack up. You should pretty much be able to put them into my calculator and it'll say yes or no. And if it says no, don't try and manipulate the figures to make it work. Just put it to one side and say, sorry, that we'll visit that when we're a little less busy. And as a result, the deals that you should be presenting to me are the deals that have said yes in the calculator. And then all you need to do is share the vision with me, so that, well, when you present it to me, I should clearly be able to look at it and say, you know what, I understand where she's gone with this. And as a result, yes, it will go out. There have been a couple that I've said, you know what, unfortunately, we've got a lot more research to do on this, because sometimes I don't share the vision with the research that has come in. Philip Ward says, you may not want to answer this, or I can email you for the answer. To make money on auction property, is it the ones that didn't sell? Believe it or not, Philip, I will answer it. We never go to the auction room. So it's stuff that we try and acquire before auction or after auction. Before auction is better, because obviously we get to look at the whole catalogue. After auction are generally the ones that didn't sell, and there could be an issue with that property, so we have to be cautious of the fact that there might be an issue with the property. It could be overpriced, so bear in mind that if most auctions sell on average between 75 and 80%, there's still quite a large percentage that still can be done after auction. So yeah, we deal with auction houses up and down the country. So just quickly going through this. Do you think we'll start making property cash flow for the first few months with no money? Till source has good want to try this one. Okay, so Richard said he wants to build a HMO portfolio property. Will you training and you're okay? So Richard said that it's based in Wolverhampton. He wants to build a HMO property portfolio in Wolverhampton with your training and contacts. Will it help make this possible with no starting finance? Right, so in order for you to start it with no starting finance, Richard, you'd have to build up a rent-to-rent portfolio. Problem that you've got, straight away, just so that we can disclose this from day one, Wolverhampton has become an Article 4 area, so you can't take a single let property now and turn it into a HMO without the use of planning permission, which is going to be difficult in Wolverhampton for a short period. So you may need to go slightly further afield. So example being Walsall or Dudley or West Bromwich or so the region that you could go to, Sandwell, Dudley and Walsall. You can't do Wolverhampton. You could also go out towards Telford. Can that be done with no startup capital? If you're going to do rent to rent, you may need a little bit of money just to turn the property into a HMO. If you're going to try and buy a property with no money, it is possible by using open market bridging, and my contacts can assist you with that. So there are ways that it can be done. So, but yeah, there are ways. But if you want to build a portfolio with no money whatsoever, you would need to start to look at creating manners such as rent to rent. So Tanya says, so how do we sell to your database then? Tanya, in a simple manner and form, you have to be a member of the EPT. I only work with EPT members, and in the EPT we've got members that we only take 2 intakes a year. I should have mentioned actually that this is the last time that we offer it at this amount. The next time we open the EPT is going to be in June 2018, but the price is going to be more than what's being offered at the moment. Okay, so Jordan has said, okay, so Jordan says, can you also help us grow our own list of investors? Of course, absolutely. You know, that's one thing that I always teach, because then in that respect, you've got your own database. You don't have to JV with me. You know, one thing that I'll say to you is that you can even sell your deals on social media. How many times have you seen deals being sold in, you know, property groups, etc.? I'm not saying you have to sell through me. What I'm saying is that get the deals agreed and decide what you want to do. Jordan says, how do you usually decide which deals you're going to keep for your own portfolio? So like I said, last year, I actually purchased 50 properties for my own portfolio. So that was pretty much like 3 blocks of flats. One had 19, another had 10, and then another had 11. So that's 30, 40, and then we had another block as well. So I've got my own criteria. I'm only buying blocks of flats at the moment. You know, if it's a good deal, if it's a massive, you know, below market value deal, if there's a massive below market value deal, then yeah, I'll potentially looking at that as well. So, you know, every deal is different. I assess every property in a, you know, a deal by deal basis. I don't have set criteria, so to speak, but believe it or not, some of the deals that I get, my criteria as well is that I only invest in the West Midlands, whereas you may decide that you're going to invest all over the country, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it just depends on what your parameter is with regards to location. My location that I've set as my goal mine area is the West Midlands. So I'm just trying to think. Okay, we've kind of come to the end of all the questions. Are there any other questions that you want to ask? We've still got about 10 minutes. So I'm happy to answer as many questions relating to this subject as possible. So Elizabeth said, I'm looking for a deal. I'm looking at a deal in Liverpool. I've already spoken to the vendor. Can I use your template to send you the deal details? What I'd say to you, Elizabeth, is you'd have to be an EPT. You'd have to be an Elite Property Tribe member to sell to our database. With regards to the template, pretty much it's a template that I've created. There's nothing stopping. I know other people are using my templates. Does it bother me? That's completely up to you. If you want to use it, that's completely up to you. Okay, so Philip says, do you need to be accredited? Do you need to be accredited anyway to do this and to take the fee up front? Yes, if you're going to take the fee up front, you have to be MLR, so money laundering regulations. Also, you have to, if you're going to take it, it can't go to your current account. It has to go into almost like a holding escrow account. So there are certain things that you have to do, but there we go. Helen Firth. Hi, Helen. How are you? She goes, can I come and see you on Wednesday? I'll come back to you tonight, Helen, on that, just to confirm. So Helen wants to come and do one of the shadow days in my office, which I'm always happy to see people like Helen, because what they'll do is that, you know, it'll kickstart them into 2018. That's one of the beautiful things with the Elite Property Tribe, is that I give so much of my own personal time to the members there to ensure that we get them to the level of success. So, okay, so David says, can I join at the end of the month, or does it have to be tonight? Ideally, David, what we're going to start doing is we're going to start to close a membership towards the end of the month. So that's completely up to you. But okay, if you can join tonight, what we would do, we'd get people into action pretty much straight away. So you can start to watch all the old webinars. You can start to look at all the documentation. So there's lots of benefits for you joining early, and you can even join in on some of the other webinars that I do with some of the other groups. let's just have a look. So Mr. Wall says, what's your commission to sell the property via your database? It's a 50-50 split. It's a 50-50 split. So if we sell it for £3,000, it's straightforward 50-50, which should be £1.5 grand each. And that would be split only once the deal completes. So, okay. So Richard says, how much time would you say it would take to source one deal a week? That's okay. So that's a great question. Also depends. It depends, Richard, on. Just give you an example. Christina spends on average about 1 hour a day. She spends about 1 hour a day, and it's all about looking in the right location, so that within that 1 hour, potentially you could get a lot of deals. If you spent 7 hours a week, or let's say 5 hours a week, Monday to Friday, there's nothing. I'd be extremely surprised if you didn't find a deal within 5 hours within a week. Because finding the deal is one thing, it's then doing the research on it just to ensure that it's viable. And I'll show you how to do that by utilising all the portals. So Jordan has said, me and my partner are young, 21 years old, and we've been learning this form of property investing over the last couple of months. We just registered a business together, and we're able to join as a unit. Are we able to join as a unit to work and learn with you for a total of £6,000? Just so that you know, Jordan, you and your partner can join as one unit, so you don't have to pay twice. You pay as one unit. Does that make sense? So yeah, I've got just as Martin and Elliot is one unit. I've also we've also taken on just on I think last Thursday a mother and son team. So yeah, I've got no issue with that. Okay, so Philip says, how long do you get the exclusivity from the vendor? That is all subject to negotiation. You know, the longer you can get it, the better it will be, because it gives you more opportunities to sell the deal. The shortest time period I've ever been able to negotiate is 3 days. The longest period that I've managed to negotiate is 56 days. Okay, so admittedly, I'm not going to know how to pronounce your name. Ludmila said, what is better when starting a sourcing business, to open a limited company or just enough to set up as self-employment? Personally, I'd set up a limited business just in case anyone ever tried to sue you. In a limited business with no assets, there's nothing to sue for. That's just me thinking long-term, risk-averse. You can start off as personal, just bear in mind that there's also potentially nothing to sue for. So, you know, you could set it up as self-employment or a sole trader. Personally, I do it under a limited business. Okay, Mr. Wall said, if I sorry, Arsh, what I was meant to say is that if I bought a property to you to sell, how much commission would the vendor pay? We don't take any money off the vendor. We don't take any money off the vendor. We always take our commission off the buyer, not the seller. Does that make sense? We always take our commission off the buyer, not the seller. Okay, so Ludmilla said, okay, is it necessary to get the exclusivity agreement? That's the most important document that you will use throughout your whole sourcing journey. Because if you have not got exclusivity to the deal, you will get cut out of the deal so quickly every time. Does that make sense? If you've got no exclusivity to it, you've got no right. You've got pretty much no rights to that property, and whoever goes to have a look at it, they will just cut you out. Or if you try to market it and someone goes directly to the vendor and you've got an exclusivity, you've got no form of recall. Does that make sense? So it is really important for you to get exclusivity. Are there any other questions? Okay. Okay, so Richard, okay, I've answered your question. How do you get it from an estate agent? Okay, believe it or not, we find it quite easy, because remember, an estate agent, they want to sell their property, and they're happy for us to sell their property, and they're also happy to give us exclusivity because we're doing all the work for them. So agents are happy to actually give us exclusivity deal. Richard said, okay, so is this being recorded? Yes, it is being recorded. I'd like to play it to my partner. Okay, so yes, it is being recorded, Richard, and people will start to get that as well. So yeah, going back to your question, how do you get it from an agent? Yeah, we get exclusivity from agents all the time. We get them to take it off from Rightmove. We get them to take it off from Rightmove. We try and get the agent to also give us it. Well, we get the exclusivity period. We get them to take it off from Rightmove so it can't be found out. What else do we do? And agents are happy to work with us because on the basis that we're not lying to them. We're not telling them that we're the buyer. We're telling them that we're the person that's going to find them the buyer. And that's the key. So, okay, so keep going forward. Does researching property take a long time? No. Once the first property will take a while, whilst you get used to the process. When you figure out the process, research should take you about 15 minutes maximum, because you should know exactly what to look for, where you're looking for it, and how to move forward with it. Okay, so Ayola says, hi Arsh, how much does it cost to shadow you for the day? Basically, shadowing is part of the program, so you don't pay anything extra to come and shadow me for the day. And you can come and spend as many days in the office with me as you want, providing that I'm not in meetings and stuff like that. So I'll give you access to my diary so that you can see, you know, what days you can come and shadow me for. But it doesn't cost you anything extra. If you're not part of the EPT, believe it or not, it can actually cost you £1,000 to come and spend the day with me. So Philip says, what about the exclusivity agreement? So that it can only be sold through you for 1 week. Someone you introduce go there direct after a week. Can they do that? Potentially, yes. Okay, so potentially, yes. But, you know, with all due respect, Philip, if you're dealing with a vendor that is trying to cut you out of the deal somewhere, it's of no benefit the vendor cutting you out of the deal, because you're not charging them anything. If the purchaser is trying to cut you out of the deal, then you know what you do? You simply cut them off your database so that they don't get a single deal. Okay, so Tanya says, what's the payment plan option? So basically, you can pay in 3 installments. So you can purchase it outright for $3,000, or there is a payment plan option, and there is a small increase for the payment plan option. So for the first payment, you pay £1,300 because we get charged by Stripe to do the payment plan, and then the second 2 payments are taken consecutively at £1,000 each. So you pay a little bit more just for the start. But then, you know, if you can and you've got the means to do it, I would suggest just by you doing the full payment. So Ludmilla said, if it is some fee to get exclusivity when you're dealing with an estate agent? If it is some fee to get exclusivity period when dealing with an estate agent, no, there are no fees attached. So you don't have to pay any fees to get exclusivity. Okay, so Richard said, when do you collect the second 3K? And is this payable in one go? No. I'm not that kind of person that will say to you, Richard, you've done one deal, now pay up. I've never been that person. For me, it's about getting you to do deals. What we'll do, that second 3K, we will just split over a number of deals. And, you know, you decide how much you want to pay and what and where. For me, it's not, the money is not the motivator. For me, it is about getting you to do deals and getting them sold. So I think I've pretty much answered all the questions. I think it's the first time ever I've answered all the questions. Okay. Right, okay, Ben's coming, says, how does the EPT buddy scheme work? Is it a buddy in my local area and is it an experienced EPT member? Will we be looking for deals together? So basically, Ben, just to give you an example, so in the EPT, we've got a number of members. So it may be an experienced EPT member, it may be another EPT member who's on the same journey as you. So you can split the workload. So give me an example. So you may have Ben, and just trying to think. So Pete's asked quite a few questions tonight. So Ben and Pete could be buddied up. What you do is that we structure it so that we know when your calls are. We can try and figure out what the action points were, and if there's any, so Ben may decide that he's going to look for the deal. Also, Ben may decide that he's going to look for rent-to-rent deals. Pete may decide that he's going to look for those deals, and then every week you get the webinar every Wednesday for the EPT webinar that's held by me, and then as well as that, I'd expect at least 1/2 phone calls between Ben and Pete as a buddy scheme, and seeing how that's working. If you find that you're not compatible with your buddy, I'd switch it around so that you find someone that you do work with. And we found, we introduced it this year, and we found that it works really well. And we found that it's increased the productivity massively. Okay, so hi boss, hi Wahid, he goes, hi boss, how many classroom sessions will there be? Because I learn much better face to face. So just so that you know, so there's 4 quarterly meets. So we meet once every 3 months, and that's based in Birmingham. So we did one I'll tell you what I will do, just to give you an example. Let's quickly go to Elite Property Trial. And I'll show you one of the meets that we did. EPT Live 8, let's go to October 2017. Where's it gone? Where's the slides? Crap, that's held there. EPT Live 8. Where's the crap? Give me 2 secs, I'll find it. So we've got the live meets there. So just trying to think which one. Where else did we have it? I think I've got them in YouTube, and we also have them recorded, and we have them uploaded as well. We have them recorded and uploaded. So every time we have a different speaker, as well as that, Wahid, remember you have the opportunity to come and shadow me in my office as well. So Carl says, it's a whole course online. What do I need to do to do the course? So what do I need to do to be able to do the course? Remember, Carl, you're going to have all the webinars. So every Wednesday we do a webinar. The time is between 8 and 9 o'clock. We also give you homework to do. You have the opportunity to call me. You have the opportunity to come and shadow me in my office. So pretty much I teach you exactly what to do and how to do. So, okay, Amanda says, how much do you get on commission for rent-to-rent deals? Varies. It depends on how long the lease is, depends on what the kind of cash flow that you generate from it, what kind of cash flow you generate from it. Yeah, they're the 2 main factors, time period and cash flow. And as a result, the cheapest one has been £3 grand. I think the most expensive one we've ever sold is £7 grand. I know some people that charge £1,000 for every year that they manage to negotiate. Remember that with rent to rent, especially if there's a mortgage on it, you can only do a maximum of 7 years anyway. So Philip says, do the buddies end up splitting some deal profit as well? It all depends. It depends what you two negotiate. The one that we did that works really well, which was between Daryl Hatfield and Graham Dixon, they decided to split their fee between them. So again, okay, so Philip says, is the course released in segments, or is it available to study straight away, or is it purely webinar content? So basically, it is available. So if you were to join, let's say tonight, Philip, it's available to you pretty much straight away. So I'd get you logged in, get you set up on the platform, and you can have a look at the documentation, and you can watch all the webinar content throughout. And it is available just so that you can see. I'll quickly log back in. I shouldn't have logged out. You can see it is pretty much segmented. So we do a massive chunk on rent to run, we do a massive chunk on HMOs, we do a massive chunk on service accommodation, we do a massive chunk. So just so that you can see, let's go to June 2017. So you can see it's broken down into weeks. So June 2017, we started and we did 30 deals in 30 days back then, dealing with agents live, part 2, dealing with objections, how to find buyers, how to find deals, networking, how to find. So we've got pretty much a week by week breakdown as to what you should be looking for, and you can go in there, you can pretty much binge on the whole of that, and you could pretty much be up and running. Okay, so Carl said, sorry, what's a buddy thing about? So just so that you can see, I'll tell you what I will do, I'll show you the buddy scheme. So we've put together different EPT members together. So we've got buddy schemes. So I can see who's put together. And again, everyone, before we put you together, we ask you a certain amount of questions to fill out a spreadsheet to see how far you are, how far you are with your journey, or what your journey is. So there's no point in me putting a rent-to-rent guide together with someone that's looking to do, commercial deals. So as a result, we put a spreadsheet out, and providing on your priorities 1, 2, and 3, we match you up with a buddy, so that you can kind of work together, and together you can start finding deals together. So Amanda says, is it all printed material? Is it all online? Yes, there's lots of printed material. We've got lots of documents on there. So all the printed documents are all the documents that you can pretty much download. You can pretty much download. You get all the mind maps. You get the cash flow calculator. And so yeah, but all the videos and all the webinars are all online. So you can literally just watch them online. So Theo said, any deals shared between any members of the group prior to going out to any buyers, just in case the deal is of any interest? Yes, so that's what we do. We share the deals between the group an hour before they're about to go out to the database. So it gives, we give everyone the heads up, here's the deal. If anyone's interested, show your hand now or forever hold your peace. Okay, so I'm just trying to quickly go through. So any further questions? Okay, so Richard's asked a question. He goes, will you still be a member after 12 months? Now, here's the beautiful thing. I'm not the kind of person that will come to you and say, Richard, okay, your 12 months are up. You've got to pay another $3 grand to be there. What we've done with previous successive guys is we've said, well, we want you to stay in the group, and all you do is you pay £300 for the year. So your second year is £300. Your third year, if you want to be there for the third year, is £300, which is pretty much 10% of what you paid from the outset. And all that is covering the costs of all the different platforms that we use, the webinar platforms, the web platforms, and all the documentations, etc. So it's a longer mentorship group as you want it to be for a fraction of the cost. £300 for a year is equivalent to £6 a week, which is absolutely nothing. Whereas I know a lot of other mentorship groups have said after year 1, let's say that they charge you 10 grand. Year 2 is pretty much the same as well. So Carla said, it goes, how much time do we need to do the course? Is it a webinar every Wednesday and some homework for the year? Can I do it with a friend? Okay, so Carl, yes, it is a webinar every Wednesday. You do get homework. Plus, obviously, you've got to find time to call vendors, agents, and stuff like that. So you are going to need to spend some time on there. Can you do it with a friend? Is this friend going to be a person that's going to be working with you long term? If that's the case, then yes, you can. If it's a person that's just looking to, yeah, I suppose you can, because if they're going to be your business partner, then that's no problem. Okay, how many hours a week to do the course? So it's only an hour a week. So it's Wednesday between 8 and 9 p.m. Amanda. So, and then bear in mind that we'll set your homework, so you may need to spend some time doing some homework, but also follow up calls, etc. Because in order to do deals, so the actual course itself is an hour a week. Are there any other questions? We've been online for pretty much 2 hours. We've still got a lot of people. Online. If there are any other questions, feel free. You know, one thing I will say is that I'm always open to anyone asking. One thing I would say is thank you for learning the time, or for taking the time to learn the secrets. I hope you understand how I operate and how I've created pretty much like a 3-step system which will allow you to achieve your property cash flow goals. And if there are any further questions, feel free to just give me a quick call. My mobile number is on screen. I never have an issue with people calling me direct. I never have an issue with people calling me direct, and you know, I'm one of the very few people, or one of the very few trainers that you can actually get access to any point. You know, if you've got a question, you've got a deal, and especially if you're in the EPT, the aim is to get you to succeed. There's no point in me having a load of people in a group that don't succeed. You know, that doesn't satisfy me, and I'm sure it doesn't satisfy you. So. Richard says, just to check, will this webinar be emailed so I can replay it? So just so you know, Richard, one thing I would say to everyone is subscribe to my YouTube channel, because we put a lot of content up on YouTube as well. So if you subscribe to the webinar, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, believe it or not, we put up a lot of these kind of webinars up there. So, you know, it might be something for you to check out. So Carl said, is the hour each week to learn about everything like dealing with vendors, then week after how to value, etc., and so on. At the end of the year, you should have learnt it all. Yes. In a nutshell, yes. And just so that you know, you've got pretty much all the webinars on there. But more importantly, if you've got a specific question that you need answering, Carl, there's nothing stopping you calling me, if you're part of the EPT, to say, okay, I've got this scenario, what do I need to do? Wahid says, the videos on your portal are only from the webinar, as they're quite long for training, or have they been edited to cut to the point? Believe it or not, the webinars are an hour, and we are to the point. We don't mess about. We don't mess about with dilly-dallying around and spending time on answering questions. You know, we are there specifically for the purpose of that training. So we spend a good hour, and we get through a lot of content within that hour. Sometimes some of the webinars are like an hour and a half. If we run over, there's nothing to stop it from going over an hour. It just depends on if we need to make sure that you've got sufficient information off that webinar to be able to progress further with it. So guys, on that note, I wish you all the very best of success. You know, I'd love to see you on the Elite Property Tribe. I'd love to see you doing deals through the Elite Property Tribe. So if you like the thoughts of it, feel free to get in contact, and if you want to have a chat, more than happy for you to do so. On that note, guys, I wish you all the very best, and enjoy the rest of the evening. Take care. Good night. God bless.